Hey everybody, starting to let people in for the Flipgrid training. We're going to start at 4:30. So it might be kind of quiet while we're waiting, don't worry. And if you need anything, you can just drop it in the chat. Hey guys, I hope everybody's doing well. We still have about one more minute before we're ready to start, and I'm still admitting some people into the session. So just hang tight, and if you need anything, you can drop that in the chat. How's everybody doing? I see some of y'all are saying hello in the chat, which is awesome. We will have a full session today, so we're going to use the chat. If you've been in some of our other 4 to 5 sessions that are full, we use the chat to help with questions as we're going through this session. And so we're going to be getting started. I'm gonna Oh, I do have my video on. Yay, so you can see me, maybe, depending on how you have your screen set up. My name is Janet Wenninghoff. I am a middle school academic technology coach, and I am going to be hosting and driving the session today. One of the other middle school coaches, Jean Yang, is also in the session today, and she's going to be facilitating and answering the questions in the chat. So again, if you have questions about something that we're doing, drop that in the chat and she's going to answer. And if it's something we want to kind of stop and dig a little bit into, she will unmute and we'll dive a little deeper. So today is a session, Flipgrid 2.0. So this session is designed for the more familiar Flipgrid user. If you're not as familiar, you are still welcome to stay here today, see all of the good stuff that we're going to cover. And then I have done a couple of basic Flipgrid sessions, how to get set up, how to get started, how to build your classes. And I've actually linked that video. After the session today, you will get a copy of the slideshow, which has some links that we're going to look at today, as well as a copy of the video recording of today's session. So in that slideshow that I'm going to share with you after the session, there will be a link for that webinar that I did that is nuts and bolts of Flipgrid. So if you're still needing to get set up or you need a refresher on how to get set up, you'll get that resource as well. All right, so for today, what's learned here leaves here. Any ideas that are put forth by the group, and I hope that not only will you drop questions in the chat, but you will also drop ideas in the chat, anything that's worked for you, anything that's been a challenge, and make sure that you share everything with your PLC, with your grade level, with your teacher friends. Links are going to be in the speaker notes. So I mentioned I'll share the slideshow with you, and everything that I link out to, those links can be found in the speaker notes of the slideshow that you will get a copy of. And yes, like I mentioned, share your ideas. So I'm actually going to come out of the present mode just so I can access some of those links as we're chugging along today. So today's session, like I mentioned, it is being recorded. And if you would like to just watch and take it all in, you're welcome to do that. If you want to toggle your screen and maybe you're playing with some of the tools and Flipgrid we look at, you're welcome to do that too. Do whatever works for you. So the first thing we're going to do to get started is we're going to talk about some of those, I hate to call them bells and whistles, but they are kind of bells and whistles, right? Some advanced features, I guess we'll say, in the screen recording options inside of Flipgrid. So again, because this is designed for an experienced Flipgrid user, we're not going to really touch on setting up accounts or things like that. We're really just going to dive right in. So I am going to try and mirror my iPad screen for you guys. And we're going to look at just some of the advanced features that you can point out to your kids or that you can use yourself if you are utilizing Flipgrid as a screen recording tool. Sorry, guys. For some reason, my mirroring doesn't want to pop up. Yay, here we go. Okay. You guys should be able to see my iPad, and Jean, if they can't see it, if you would just let me know. Okay, so we are going to look at, what's up?
I don't see it.
You don't see my iPad? Thank
Just
you.
kidding. Go ahead.
It's all good. Good times, man. Okay, I'm glad that it's there. I'm glad that you see it. There might be a little bit of a delay then, so I wonder if there will be a slight disconnect between kind of my voice and what I'm talking about, and then also, sorry, letting a few more folks in, no worries. If you're just popping into the room, don't worry, we're just getting started. Okay, so, oh, sorry, I made the iPad screen disappear that time. I'll bring it back. Alrighty. I'm going to minimize that. Yay. Okay, so hopefully you are looking at my iPad screen. Sorry. It's good times, man. Okay, iPad screen, yes. We're going to talk about bells and whistles when we are in the record screen. So on my iPad, down at the bottom, I'm going to open that Flipgrid app. I'm going to back up just a couple. Okay, so this is a mobile device view. I'm mirroring my iPad screen, but all of the features that I'm going to showcase here look and work just the same on the desktop version. And so whether you are recording, whether your kids are recording on a mobile device, on a Chromebook, on a computer, they're gonna have all of these features. Look, it's like a screen in screen. I always feel like that's like super weird, right? Like it's going to be like infinity universe somehow. Okay, so on my screen, I want to talk about all of these tools that live down there on the bottom of the screen. So the first one looks like a little crystal ball, like we're looking into the future. If you haven't checked those out, they're really fantastic filters. And so maybe you've seen some videos that your kids have done that are filtered. That's where they're grabbing the filters from. And so I really want to point out the one to you that looks like the little guy down here at the end. And what that actually does is it's a pixelation filter. And so I know that some of our kids are a little bit more shy about recording their faces. And so some of them will do the emojis, which we'll look at in just a second. But there is this pixelation filter that they can turn right on. We'll pixelate the screen, and it really kind of helps to take the pressure off. Love it. Okay, so let's talk about the next one over, which is that A button. What this actually does is it gives me a text box. And so I can put that. And so again, if I want to record a message going out to my kids, I can put some text or information over here on the screen. Or if my kids are presenting and kind of touching on their big ideas, they might want to put those in the text box. Depending on what device they're using to do the recording, if it's a laptop, if it's a Chromebook, if it's a desktop, they might really like those text boxes because it's very easy to work with on the screen. All right, next button over is the little smiley face. This is going to give me all of my little emojis. And so, like I mentioned earlier, some of the kids who are a little bit more shy feel a little bit more comfortable if they can make that emoji their face. And so that's where they're grabbing these from on the emojis. This is also a really cute activity if you're wanting to do like an emoji story. Encourage kids, hey, grab 3 emojis that reflect how you're feeling today, reflect the mood of the story we're reading. However, so if you're like, ooh, that's a really good idea, reach out to your coach because we would love to kind of dig a little deeper into that with you. So that's just an emoji. All right, 4th tool over. It looks like a pen. It is a pen. It works just like I think it does. Fantastic. I can annotate right on the screen, and like I'm moving around, that annotation stays the same. If you want to take that annotation tool one step further, you're going to notice right next to the pen, there is what looks like a little chalkboard or dry erase board. Yep, that is You can make it a blank white screen, or you can grab it and make it the dark screen, whatever you like. And then you're gonna notice that you can still write. Sorry, it's not letting me write. So if you're wanting your kids to talk through their thoughts, they can definitely pull up this dry erase board. They still have all of the annotation features. They can bring up those emoji stickers, the text box features, all of the good stuff. And the great thing is they can also click that dry erase board, and you're going to notice that third option is kind of the circle with the line through it. It makes that whiteboard go away, but look, all of these annotations are staying in place. Kind of last couple of tools right up here, you're gonna notice it looks like a Post-it note, and it is exactly what we think it is. So any kind of notes or just, I don't know, important info can go right up there. And again, this works very similar to the text boxes because I can drag and drop that text anywhere on my screen that I want to. Okay, last kind of bell and whistle we're gonna look at. I'm really excited about. It's new and it's in beta. So you're gonna notice I just drew that arrow down there, and I hope that you see the 3 dots just to the left of my video camera. And I'm gonna click those 3 dots. And it's not giving me screen and screen recording. Fantastic. Let me see if I turn on my video recording. Well, hey, you know what's really cool is when you're trying to like share exciting technology pieces with people and the technology doesn't work. If you are on a desktop or a laptop, a Chromebook, when you hit the 3 dots, you are going to see an option in this little 3-item list, and it's going to say screen and screen recording. And so it's going to give you like a screencastify type of experience. Same for your kids. They can also screen record themselves, and they could pull up like a slideshow presentation. Shout out to Halo Rogers at Rollinson Middle School because she shared this with me, and she's having her kids do some of their MSIP work with that screen and screen piece. And so again, the kids can record themselves doing some narration along with the Google Slides that they have. So yay for all of the bells and whistles, right? So I'm gonna jump over to the chat really quick and let me see if there's anything else I can cover on bells and whistles. Super cool. Oh, yay, I'm glad you guys love this already. It really is such a great tool. Flipgrid can be your one-stop shop if you want it to be, which is fantastic. Okay, so we talked about all of these bells and whistles that we can use when we are recording. And these are the tools that are available for us as the teacher and our kids too. So I am going to actually pop off my iPad now.
Sorry, Janet. Somebody is asking if you can repeat the lesson idea.
Mr. Genesek, are you thinking about like the emoji story idea? And I'll hang tight for just a second.
I'm sorry, I'm not a great typer.
You're good.
No, I was curious about the lesson that you talked about. So a teacher in the past had kids record themselves while they annotated on the screen, so she could see their thinking.
Yes.
So now, is that something that happens live that you could pull into like a Nearpod or anything like that?
No, it's going to create a linked recording, so like a recorded clip. And so we'll look at that in just a second. Different opportunities and like what do the videos look like on the back end for Flipgrid. So it's not necessarily a live experience, but I think there's also a lot of power in that because in the distance learning classroom, you know, a lot of us are offering those kind of online or virtual office hours. However, you know, we're probably seeing the same handful, 4 or 5 kids that are coming to those meetings, and using a tool like Flipgrid provides an asynchronous recording video option, so kids can record themselves whenever they have time to do it, when they feel comfortable with it, and then they can post it. And then we still get the experience of seeing each other, both the kids and the teachers, but the recordings can happen at all different times. And Mr. Janosek, if you're looking for like a whiteboard option, we should chat about that, because there are some ways to get at that in a live Zoom session, but I don't think we're going to touch it today. All right. You're welcome. Okay, last question. There is a clear button, and I'll show you that up at the top of my screen, and then we're going to kind of dive into some other stuff. Minimize that. So you're going to notice up here at the top of my screen, sorry, zoomed in, oh goodness. There is that button that says clear. And so I can either hit the back button if I want to undo my last annotation, or if I hit clear, it's going to clear my whole board except for the sticky note. If I want to get rid of that sticky note, I'm going to click the little X on my screen. It's going to say, are you sure you want to do that? And I'm going to say, yep. Okay, so I'm really going to jump away from that right now. So we talked a little bit about that screen and screen, which we're not seeing right this second, but I will pull that back up when we go into Flipgrid in just a second on my desktop device. And I'll show it to you. We talked about filters. We talked about that whiteboard feature. Teachers and students have the same recording options. So for students, we're probably wanting to capture their thoughts, their reflections. Maybe we're giving them some activities to respond to. For teachers, think about recording those directions. Think about putting those video recordings out there. It's a familiar face for your kiddos. And like I mentioned, a lot of us are holding Zoom meetings, but we don't get to see every kiddo that way. All right, so we are going to jump on to the next little thing we're going to talk about is Flipgrid Shorts. Okay, so in just a second, but not yet, I'm going to jump over to the Flipgrid view, kind of the main dashboard that I see as the teacher, and we're going to look at some of those additional features. Flipgrid Shorts is kind of a short little video, and what it is really is a one-way recording. So I can make, and maybe you have made, a video that is like, hey guys, I want you to drop 3 emoji videos in your lesson or in your recording today and tell me how you're feeling. And so that becomes my directions or instructions in my Flipgrid classroom, where the kids are then going to respond to my own video. However, using Flipgrid Shorts, you can make just little directional videos. You can grab the link for that, and you can paste those videos in other places. Much like you would a Screencastify. Why would you want to do that in Flipgrid? For all of the bells and whistles and the annotation tools that we just looked at a moment ago. So without further ado, I'm going to jump over to my Flipgrid screen.
Janet, real quick, we have a couple of people asking about the Flipgrid live in a Zoom.
Okay.
And they're just asking, like, what are the steps that you would take? Can you go over that, since there's a couple of people asking?
A Flipgrid live in a Zoom?
That's what they were saying, that you had mentioned that you can use it in a Zoom.
I do not think I would use a Flipgrid in a Zoom.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure and verify.
Yeah, I think if you guys are looking for like a dry erase board or an annotation tool, there are some other ways to get at that. If you're using Zoom, there is an integrated whiteboard in there. And so you can get with your coach, and we can get you guys some resources on that. If you're using Meet for a lot of your class meetings, there are some other third-party tools or ways to get at that. So I hope I'm answering that question. And if it's something really specific, make sure to shoot your coach an email. To me, Flipgrid is I don't want to say it's the opposite, but it is kind of the opposite experience that we see in like a Google Meet or in a Zoom. we're still recording. We're still getting our students to record. We're still seeing each other. But in the Flipgrid environment, this is happening whenever students can come in and do it. Whereas our Zoom and Meet products, that's that live face-to-face meeting. So I hope I'm making that clear. I'm sorry, you guys. Okay. So I am here. This is my Flipgrid dashboard, and I'm actually going to head to my grids. And so this probably looks familiar to you. You have all of your grids that are here. But what we're really going to dive into is up here at the top of my screen. And so you're going to notice that there are some options here. Today, we're going to look specifically at shorts, and then we're also going to jump into mixed tapes. So I'm going to jump here to shorts. And so, oh, look at that. That's me. Okay, so you can record a short here, which is a short video recording of yourself doing any kind of directions, instructions. Maybe it's just like a check-in and you're like, hey guys, how's it going today? So I'm going to hit the record, but because we're in a Zoom recording, it's going to tell me that it doesn't like it, I think. Yes. Okay, so it's not going to like it, but just know to launch your video recording, you will actually hit that record button. And then just a few minutes ago, I was on my mobile device and I showed you all of the recording tools I had. You will have all of those recording tools. So you're going to notice my video is right here, right? So the great thing about this is I can copy that link and then I could paste that link maybe directly into my Google Classroom. If it's just like a check-in video, hey, how's it going today, guys? And I don't need a video response from my kids. I could also embed that link. Maybe it's in a Google slideshow and I'm giving my kiddos some instructions. Anywhere you would post a link, you can post this link. All right, shorts, love it. Next thing, we're gonna go to this, I think this is the middle, not really the middle, it's kind of the middle. It's gonna be mixed tapes, which are right here. Mixed tapes you can use to curate videos that kids have recorded in other grids in one centralized place, okay? So this is going to be a two-step process, kind of, if you will. So kind of hang with me. And then if you're having questions, make sure to drop those in the chat. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to title my mix tape. And so it might be like a highlight reel. It might be a best of. It could be, you know, I know a lot of our ELA folks are starting their novel units. And so it could be, you know, your characterization videos for the wizard. Okay, that's too long. So maybe it's just going to be characterization videos. And so you're going to pull those maybe from a specific novel or from a wide range of novels. Again, you can still put a description here, best of from spring 2020. If you want to put a password on it, you can, and all of this will come together, I super promise. I'm going to say create a mixtape. Essentially, the mixtape is almost like a folder or a landing place where I can drop or link up other videos. So let me show you what I mean. I'm going to go back over here to my grid. So I'm leaving mixtapes. So remember, grids are classrooms. And then I'm going to go into one of my grids and I'm going to see all of my topics. And remember, topics are essentially assignments or recordings, okay? I don't have a lot of recordings here, so I'm gonna actually jump into another class where I have a lot of recordings. Let's come here. Okay. So now I'm going to make sure that I actually click on this so that I get the teacher view, which is clicking on the title. And then you're gonna notice I see all of those videos that my students have submitted. So let's say, oh, I really love Miss Cindy's response or what she had to say on this video. I wanna add this to my mixtape. And if you'll remember, I just created that mixtape, which is like a folder of characterization, and I'm going to add it. I'm going to say got it. It does not remove Cindy's video here from this assignment view or the topic view. It just creates this other folder of curated videos. So I'm going to do it one more video here. I'm going to add that to our characterization video mixtape, add, got it. And then I'm going to jump back out to my grids, and I'm going to head over to another class period. So let's say I'm posting the same topic in multiple classes, and I can curate kind of best responses or highlight reels. And so again, I can click on those little videos. Remember, I want to click on the topic, and then I can grab my student responses and add them to the mixtape. Okay, so let's look at kind of that finished product, if you will. So remember, right now I'm in my grids, which are essentially your classes, but I'm going to jump back over here to mixtapes. And remember, I was adding everything to my characterization mixtape, which is like a folder. And so now I'm going to see just those 3 videos that I need to curate. So there's a lot of power here in this. You can make a highlight reel. We're going to talk about flip hunts in just a second, and you can use these mixed tapes to kind of help curate those flip hunts, which are really exciting. You can also think about this in terms of like a student portfolio. If you're needing to track the progress in terms of listening and speaking for some of your students, whether they're SEs or they're Ls, you could totally make a mixtape for individual students and then just attach their videos, and you can watch them over time. You're going to notice over here on the far right of my screen, there is like that little crosshair when I'm hovering over Cindy's video. That will allow me to grab the video, and I can reorder these. So if you're needing to show something like in a progression of time, you can use that reorder piece to help facilitate that. Okay, so we covered 2 things. We talked about mixtapes, and then we also talked about those shorts. So I'm gonna pop open the chat and see if there's anything that we need to come back to.
I think we're good. They're sharing ideas right now about doing like a mass musician talent show.
Oh my goodness, I love that idea. That's awesome. So I love that you guys too are dropping those things into the chat. I love all the good ideas. Okay, so I'm going to slide back over here to my Flipgrid short slide. So we talked about that. Great way to create a mini lesson, great way to screen record yourself discussing content or directions. And the benefit of using their shorts feature versus like a Screencastify is that you get all of the creative options inside of Flipgrid. We talked about the mixtapes, making the highlight reel. We'll look at organizing a flip hunt in just a second. I also love it for the idea of student portfolios. It sounds like you guys have some good ideas going as far as like other fun activities, ways that we can engage our kids. Okay, so we're going to talk about flip hunts, and I love flip hunts. I think that they're super exciting. I feel like maybe I'm not the best at explaining them. So if there is anybody that has tried a flip hunt, has experience with the flip hunt, you guys make sure to keep dropping that into the chat, and I am going to do my super best to explain it. Okay, so a flip hunt is essentially like a scavenger hunt that you create inside of Flipgrid, and you can have your kiddos do a sequence of tasks and post that video and share it out with each other. Okay, so like I said, I feel like I always like it stays kind of fuzzy for a little bit, and then hopefully it's going to get really clear. So when you're building a flip hunt, and so flip hunt is just a hashtag or a term, essentially it is a scavenger hunt. The first thing you want to do is you want to start with the learning objective or the TEKS. What are your kids learning about? If your flip hunt is going to be content driven. Now you could totally also do a flip hunt that it is a fun, like engagement, community classroom building piece. You can go either way. If it is going to be connected to a content, you want to identify what the activities are in the scavenger hunt and how do they connect back to the TEKS. And I'm going to show you some samples here in just a second. And so as I start showing you these two samples, I'm going to give like a huge word of caution. The samples I'm going to show you, I have found they were linked up on the Flipgrid blog. They are beautiful. They are also very long. And I think they were also truly designed for that face-to-face classroom. So if you think you're going to try out that flip hunt or that virtual scavenger hunt, start small. Give your kids 2 or 3 tasks and something they're surely going to feel successful with, and then start to kind of build on it a little bit. Okay, so that's kind of like me talking about it a lot, which feels like a little bit weird. So let me show you some resources on this now. And you're gonna notice here on my screen, there are some links. Remember, you're getting this slideshow, so you're going to get all of these links. So don't worry about trying to grab these or write them down. You're gonna get them. So I'm actually gonna start with this bottom link down here, and it's gonna open in a new window. And if you're thinking, hey, I'm gonna be doing a flip hunt, this is awesome, cool. Totally recommend. This is on the Flipgrid blog. And I think they do such a beautiful job of explaining what a Flipgrid is, how you would set it up, best practices, just all kinds of really good stuff that you're going to find here. So definitely not going to read this to you, but I want you to know that this is a resource from the folks at Flipgrid. Okay, so I'm going to jump back over here and I'm going to show you 2 samples. And so these are the scavenger hunts or the lists that the teachers shared with the students, who then completed the activities, and they're recording themselves either showing these things or doing these things, and that creates the flip hunt. And so I think there's a lot of potential for this. We're talking about a lot of concepts, you know, biotic and abiotic cells for our science folks. You know, how great to have your kiddos find those things around the house, video record themselves in front of it, and really talk about it and make those real world connections. Okay, first one, this is a skeletal system flip hunt. Okay, so remember how I told you they were really long? They're really long. So in the skeletal system flip hunt, this is a checklist of items that the teacher wants the students to do on video in a Flipgrid and record themselves. So again, I would probably narrow this list to 3, maybe 4, and have your kiddos record and do these things. So you can see this teacher also made this checklist in a separate Google Doc. I love this idea. I would share this document with my kiddos so that they can really refer to this. Depending on the tasks that they're having to complete, they may need to do some planning or identifying of items ahead of time. So you want to make sure you give them the checklist for the flip hunt in a separate document, probably on the same post in Google Classroom. So I'm going to close that one, and I'm going to show you one more. This is a geometry flip hunt. And so again, it is a little bit long, but I really liked the way the teacher used the color coding system. And so if you're wanting to give your kiddos some choice, but still limit the actual number of things they're going to do or showcase in their flip hunt, you might say, hey guys, I have these color coded. Green is easy, yellow is medium, red is hard. I want you to do or pick one activity or one thing you're going to complete from each color code. one green, one yellow, one red. And so you're going to notice on here, some of these things are asking kids to do things. Identify an angle that is between 45 and 55 degrees. Prove the measurement. So you might have them annotate on the screen, or maybe you're actually having them pick up an object and talk about it. Also keep in mind that says with a protractor, maybe our kids don't have those. So just keep that in mind when you're building your checklist. And again, this teacher built it in a Google Doc. And so it gives the kids all of the information they need ahead of time and outside of that Flipgrid recording they're going to do. And so this would be separate from the directions. Okay, so I'm gonna jump back over here. And when I was reading through that blog, which I pulled up, that was the first link. The most common question, and she discusses this at length, probably a lot better than I will hit this. How do you set up the flip hunt? Do you want the students to make one long video? They're touching all of the items in their flip hunt? Or do you want them to make little short videos for each task? And from everything I read in her blog, it seems to be kind of a personal preference piece. It's just something that you need to consider and plan for. One of the things that was mentioned, if you're having the kids do a separate little recording, so maybe you want the kids to wiggle their phalanges, that's like a 15-second video. So when you build that topic, wiggle your phalanges, you're going to set that video recording to a really short amount of time. Okay, on the flip side of that, which I'll show you in just a second, if you're going to have your kids do 2 or 3 tasks in one video, then you're going to want to probably do a couple of the tasks yourself and adjust your time accordingly on that video. So I'm going to jump back over to my Flipgrid screen and let's talk about how we would set those up. So I'm going to go to my grids, and remember, grids are your classes. And let's say I'm going to come here to my second period. So I could go about this 2 ways. I could make a topic a single topic that is, flip hunt for the week of April 27th. Or I might have a topic that is, if you're using that color coding system, you might say topic. So maybe, they're going to record one of those items from the green bank of tasks on that flip hunt checklist. And so if I'm going to set it up that they'll make one recording per little topic, I'm going to adjust that time, and I'm probably going to make it really short, 15 seconds, 30 seconds. So I think one of the benefits of setting it up kind of by task is the kids can come in and see each other's videos. So while I might do or showcase, this is, being my right angle, kids are going to find all kinds of right angles. And so they're going to see a wide variety of just that specific topic that you're asking the kids to record on. Okay. Transversely, if I wanted to just make the topic flip hunt for the week of April 27th, and then I would just tell the kids, record your 3 tasks here. And then I would need to make sure that I adjust that recording time that they have, 1:30, maybe 2 minutes, so that they have time enough to record themselves, showcasing all of those things, completing the task, whatever they may be. Okay, and then I would create that topic. And so remember, this will give me the code for this specific topic. And so I can post that directly into Google Classroom, So this was my second period math class. I would want to make sure that I post this in my second period class as an assignment. Oh, I hope you guys are seeing that. This is a strange little pop-up. Jean, if you guys don't see that, let me know. So I would say create a, what's up?
You're good.
Okay, awesome, thank you. And then it will let you build the assignment right inside of Flipgrid here. So I would say Flip Hunt for the week of April 27th. Any instructions that you need to give here, you can. Due date. So let's say it's going to be that Friday. And then I definitely want to connect it to a topic. You may want to, or I would also attach that Google Doc with the actual tasks that the kids need to complete. So if you assign it from here, from Flipgrid, you'll still need to go in and edit that assignment post and add that other planning document for them. But I'm gonna go ahead and say assign. And it is going to post out there, which is awesome. Okay. All right. Pretty cool. I hope that I hit that nail on the head with the Flip Hunt. I feel like it's such a powerful tool because essentially you're sending your kids on some sort of scavenger hunt, and the possibilities for that are endless. We want to make sure, again, that if we are connecting this to content, that we identify the task, how they're related to the content, make sure you're planning how much time is it going to take the kids to actually record themselves. Make sure you're sharing that checklist of things that they need to do for the Flip Hunt as a separate Google Doc so the kids can prep ahead of time. And then we already looked at how we might build that inside of Flipgrid. Okay, so we have a little bit of extra time. So I want to show you that in-screen recording piece that I didn't see on my iPad. And so I hope that it's going to come back up here on my teacher Flipgrid screen. So I'm going to jump back over here to Shorts. Oh no, I'm not going to jump back on Shorts. Oh, I can't even do it on my computer. Boo, I'm not going to show it to you. It's not going to let me pull that up because I'm recording my screen. Boo, maybe I'll make a little separate recording for you guys of that screen piece, and I will send it to you along with the link for the slideshow today and for the video recording. So I'm gonna jump back over here to the questions in the chat. And we do have some time for a little Q&A piece. So if you have any questions, things you're wondering, maybe about Flip Hunt, maybe about mixtapes, about shorts, about any of the bells and whistle tools, feel free to drop those in the chat right now. I know Jean's been facilitating the chat, but if there's something that you're kind of circling around, go ahead and drop it in the chat and I'll give you just a second.
So we had a really good question, a private question.
Okay, cool.
If you basically, like, for the kids to be able to get started, if they've never used it before, what would be the best way to kind of intro that to them and give them those steps? And so I just said you could create a video as a focus video, or you could create, you know, however you want to create the video. But I like the fact that when you create a topic, you can actually record your own response. So it's almost like a student view.
Are we talking about getting started with just Flipgrid in general, or are we talking about Flip Hunts?
Just in general,
Yeah.
to like get the kids familiar with the platform, if you want to kind of show them how to do that, maybe just some ideas on that.
Absolutely. And so I'm going to, it's not going to let me record myself, but I will show you how I would probably do exactly what Jean just said, which is spot on. So if you're coming to flipgrid.com, you want to make sure that you're signing in with Google, and then you're going to land in your grids. And so I always like try to emphasize 1, 10, 100 times that grids are like classes. So essentially, I want to build a grid for each class period that I have, and that's just going to make it easier for me to manage all of the student responses. So it is going to ask me to name my grid. So I might say my third period ELA block. So this next step here is super important because we are going to be recording students, and that's them talking, their faces, their names, all of that stuff. We want to make sure that we select this school email login piece so that it is password protected. And I'll show you in the next step how we make sure we can portal kids through. It's going to ask me to add the domain for email addresses within our school system. Now, our email addresses end in @nisd.net, but that's just for staff. So we need to also add @students.nisd.net so that the kids can log in with Google and it will portal them through with their email address, and it keeps everything really safe and locked down for them. And so it's going to give you a code right here. And this is a code to your actual grid, which is the whole class. So you have the option to either share the flip code, which is all assignments at once, or as you create assignments, it will give you a code for an individual assignment. So default is gonna say hello on Flipgrid. You can use the little default assignment, or you can add a new topic, and topics are assignments. So grids are classes, topics are assignments. And I might just say hello. The default recording time is 1 minute and 30 seconds, but if you push your little drop down, you can be as short as 15, as long as 10 minutes. So depending on what you're wanting the kids to discuss in their video, that's probably going to dictate how long a video you want them. If they're doing a more formal presentation like an MSIP or something like that, you might want that longer time frame. The default is 1 minute and 30 seconds, which I think is a really great little sweet spot. So prompt, it will prompt them, what do you want them to respond to? How are your energy levels this week? Okay, so Jean mentioned recording a video of yourself. This is the focus piece. So it's going to require me to give them a prompt every time, but I can take that a step further by recording myself. And again, I showed it to you on my iPad. It's not going to let me show it to you here on my desktop because I'm recording our session today. But I can record myself using all of those bells and whistle tools. And it might be just showcasing, hey guys, did you know that there is a whiteboard on here? Have you ever checked out the emojis? What's your favorite filter? And so just engaging them with something really light so that they get familiar with the platform. So I'm gonna hit create my topic. And so just like I showed you with the flip hunt piece, I can grab the link to this specific topic, so this specific assignment for my third period ELA block, and I can post it by either copying the link or hitting that Google Classroom button. Just so you know, because we talked about this a little bit in the Flipgrid 2.0 session I did earlier in the week. Some of the folks were asking about managing the topics, especially if you are thinking you're going to use that video piece or the link to the classroom rather than the topic. So you can, sorry, I just clicked on the wrong screen. Come back. Okay, so if I click here on go the distance and I hover over it, you're gonna notice that says view as a student. So if you wanna see the student experience, go there. If you want to see the teacher screen or the teacher dashboard, make sure to click on the title of the class. So you're going to notice for all of the topics that I have here on my screen, I do have a drop down here that I can make the topics active, frozen, which means I'm not accepting responses, but the kids can still click on them, or I can hide them, which means the kids will no longer see them. I can always click the share button to grab that little copy code or the join code that I saw at the end of my lesson. And then if I click my actions button, I can also record a response to them. I can add a topic. I can move things around. Most importantly here is duplicate topic. So let's say I'm here in, my second period math class and I've created this topic and I'm going to have the same topic, which is an assignment, in my third period, in my fourth period, in my fifth period. I can come to duplicate topic and I can say, hey, I want to put that same topic on my fourth period math. And I want to bring over just the topic. If I've already had some kids reply, if I hit only topic, it's not going to carry over the kids' responses. I'm going to say duplicate topic. It's going to think for a second. And if I head over to that fourth period class, I'll see that same little topic, which is an assignment right there. So I think.
Real quick, Janet, I'm going to double check with you. If a student gets a reply from a teacher, somebody's asking, do they not see that reply on the cell phone?
They do not see that reply on a cell phone. That is such a good question. Yes, that is one of like the yucky little limitations. So let me dig a little deeper. I'm gonna go back to grids. If they are on a computer, a Chromebook, a desktop, a laptop, anything that's not a mobile device, they will see your response. If they're on a cell phone or if they are on an iPad, they won't. And so just kind of know that that is happening. So let's say I'm going to come here to my third period ELA block. Okay, I don't have any videos, so that's not the best example. Let me find where I have a video response. I'm going to click on that. And so the really great thing about that is, let's say I click here on my video and I have all of these great videos that teachers have recorded to me, and then I can come in and I can actually like click on Margot's video and then I can record a response for her. Sorry, that started playing and I don't think you guys can hear that. So I can add it to a mixtape from here. I can record myself to give her feedback here. There is a rubric available. So if you're thinking you want to really kind of dive into some of that and you need some support on that, reach out to your coach. We want to work with you on those really good ideas. Okay, so I'm going to jump over to the chat. Although, Jean, you're doing such a good job. Thank you. Yes, it is super easy for the kids to record. Like we did talk about, the kids cannot see the video or the text replies if they're on a mobile device. They can record their responses on a mobile device, which is also very powerful. If you're wanting to see your kids' faces, if you want your kids to see each other's faces, they will still be able to do that in the mobile device platform. So they will see each other's responses. All right. Yes, it's easy for kids to record. Okay, so I'm going to jump back over here. And I know we still have 5 minutes, so I surely am not ushering you out of here or cutting you short at all.
Sorry, 1 second.
How you're good.
Videos.
How do I what? I'm sorry.
If you want to hide the videos, like in the settings, can you show where that is?
Yes. Okay, and I think I'm going to come here. So I have recorded myself giving the directions like I mentioned earlier, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to actually edit that topic. And so it sounds like there was probably a question in the chat about students being able to see each other's videos, I'm thinking. And so if I'm missing the mark on that, y'all let me know. So you're going to notice that when I'm building out that topic, there was the title, there was the time limit, here's the description. I recorded myself giving the directions. They call that like a little topic. And if I just keep going down a little further, and you might have to hit like a more options button down here if you don't see this spot, student to student replies, I can actually just toggle that off. So kind of two ways to manage this here. If you're wanting to just have private dialogue, maybe you're doing like student teacher conferencing and you don't want the kids to see each other's videos, you can just turn that off. If you want to have it on, but you want a little bit of control over those videos, you can also turn on the video moderation piece, which will allow you or require you to approve those videos before they are visible to everybody else. And then just down here, there are some additional features. Video titles or hashtags. You can turn on or off sticky notes. You can allow students to like each other's videos, very kind of a social media feel for them. The feedback pieces, basic feedback, or you can do custom feedback if you are going to utilize rubrics, stuff like that. You can add criteria. It can get really detailed in here. And so if you're wanting to kind of tease through that a little bit, check it out. And then if you need support, definitely let Jean or myself or Anna or Jeanette know. All right. We're gonna leave that. We'll leave the chat open. So if you're still having questions, you can definitely keep dropping them in there. I am bringing back up on our screen the link, and I'll paste this in the chat as well. So I know that some of you are here for teacher choice hours and some of you are here not needing teacher choice hours. We would ask that you complete the attendance form regardless, because this is how we will send out the links and the recordings from today. So I just put the link for the attendance form in the chat. You will need to copy that link. It's a bit.ly, it's a shortened link, and paste that in a web browser to open up the Google form. And so it is also viewable here on my screen right now. Sorry, I just made that go away and I didn't mean to. And so I'm going to pull that up really large. So there is that link. It is what is highlighted in black with that white text. And then it is also in the chat. And I'm going to be hanging out here in the chat. And if you have any questions, you can drop those in here. And if you need any help with the attendance form, please let us know that as well. Oh, thank you guys. I see all the thank yous in the chat. I hope that hit the mark. I hope that planted some seeds, some ways that we can really engage with our kids in that asynchronous fashion. I love Flipgrid as a video tool in the face-to-face classroom. It's also very powerful in the distance learning classroom because it gives kids the opportunity to record and still see us face-to-face, even if they can't make that targeted or specific meeting time. Yes, Julie, if your school is not listed, there should be an other on that list. And so you can just, select other, no worries. Oh, I miss the coffee shops too.
People are asking about webinars for next week.
I'm gonna publish, I think if your coach is offering webinars next week, that will be published. I know from my campuses that I work with, I haven't published my list yet, but it will come out on Monday. And so circle back with your coach, ask them if they're going to have any webinars. If you're wanting a topic specifically, let us know that for sure.
Janet, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
My PLC, we create lessons together. Can one person create the Flipgrid and share it out to the other teachers so that they could use it? Or does every teacher have to create their own?
I feel like you would have to create it yourself, because I think you can duplicate a post for yourself, but I'm not sure that I could duplicate a post and like send it to another Flipgrid user. Does that make sense?
Yes. There is one thing though that I saw that says that you can share with a cohort, because we had talked about like
Yes.
for collabs.
Yes. Now you
classes
can.
as well.
Yes. So I can add, I think it's called a co-pilot on here.
Yes, that's what it was called.
Okay, so you can add a co-pilot, which is like a co-teacher. And so really, I mean, there's nothing from stopping like a PLC from utilizing just one Flipgrid. Where it gets kind of sticky is when you start to have like a large number of video responses and giving the kiddos feedback and being able to watch all those videos. If 73 videos land in one spot, it can be a little bit overwhelming. And so if you are kind of managing your own class period by class period, then it's going to get a little bit easier to keep organized.
Okay, so it would just be, it's hard because only one person would be able to manage it.
Well, all of the videos will land in one spot.
Okay, great. That answered my question. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. Any other questions, you guys? I know y'all are using the chat. Also, if you want to just unmute yourselves, feel free.
Hey, Janet and Jean, I'm still a little confused on cell phone users. If I want to give them video feedback, like, can they hear my feedback?
They can't see it at all.
But they could hear me.
No.
Okay, thank you.
They won't even see the option. It's really weird. Sophie, I think I have a video on it. I'm going to make a little note to myself. I made because when I did the Flipgrid for the asynchronous classroom webinars, that's when we discovered that. And so I made like a little video capturing like what they see on the student and on a mobile device. So I will send you that video so you can see that it pretty much just doesn't exist. It's kind of a bummer.
Can I write them written feedback on Flipgrid or no?
You can. You can
for
write
a
them.
cell phone.
Yes.
And how do I do that? Under the actions?
So you're actually I'm going to open up, let me find somewhere where I have a video. I think I have a video here. Okay, so I'm in this grid and then I'm going to head over and I'm going to say, is there a video here? Let me click it. Okay, there is my video. And then I'm going to say actions. Sorry, all of my all of my Zoom tools are like landing on top of my Flipgrid tools. Okay, and so I would actually, I think I'm gonna click on the response. I'm gonna pause that. And then, so you're gonna see there's that button for that video feedback, but I can also just come here and type in that written response and it's just right here underneath this bank.
Thank you for showing me that.
You're welcome.
Oh, and I see you can email their feedback.
Okay, so disclaimer on that, our students cannot receive external emails. And this email is actually generated by Flipgrid itself. And so
thank you for telling me.
I'm not 100% sure that will work. I haven't tried it out, so I don't want to say like it's a hard no, but I would maybe try it out with a student or two first and ask them, are they receiving that? Is it visible? They can also, you can use that feedback link, and you would want to make sure that you yourself just emailed it or copied it to a specific student. So for example, like if I know Elizabeth is on a mobile device and maybe she's having some trouble, I would copy my feedback link and see what that experience looked like for her. Again, I haven't tried that feedback link or the email piece, but they would be totally worth trying out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Bye. All right, guys, it's 35 after. If you have any more questions, kind of last call for the chat. And make sure you complete that form for attendance so I can send you all the links. All right, you guys, I'm going to head out. I'm going to stop the recording. Have a fantastic 3-day weekend. Make sure that you find time to unplug.